What would you do if you discovered that everything you married into, the wealth, the prestige, the security, was built on a terrible crime? Would you stay silent to protect your future, or risk losing it all to speak the truth? This is a story about the consequences of wealth gained at the expense of moral integrity. It follows an ambitious young woman who marries into a prestigious but cursed family, only to discover the dark secrets of its past. Torn between loyalty to her husband and the truth, she faces a life-changing decision that challenges her sense of right and wrong. The story highlights the importance of confronting the past and making ethical choices, even when it means risking everything. Before we dive in, can I ask you for a quick favor? This story took days of effort, writing, recording, editing, every moment crafted with care. Supporting me doesn't cost a thing, but it means the world. So if you enjoy what you're seeing, tap that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop a comment with your location. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. I read every single one, and I'll be shouting out some of you in the next video. All right, let's get back to the story. She was supposed to be living a fairy tale. At 28, Chika had married David Okonkwo, heir to one of Nigeria's most powerful families. The wedding was a spectacle that brought together politicians and business moguls. She had felt like a queen. But 3 days into her new life, standing on the veranda of the sprawling Okonkwo estate, Chika felt something else entirely. The silence was too heavy. Not peaceful, but suffocating, as if the house itself was holding its breath. David was still asleep, exhausted from late-night business calls. Her husband never stopped moving, never stopped building. At 38, he had multiplied his family's fortune tenfold. People spoke his name with reverence. But Chika was beginning to sense she had married into something far more complicated than wealth. The servants moved with their eyes cast down, speaking in whispers. David's aunt, Auntie Ngozi, watched her with pity, as though Chika had walked into a trap everyone could see but her. And then there were the sounds at night. Footsteps in empty hallways, doors creaking open when no one was near, a coldness that settled over certain rooms. On the fourth night, Chika was woken by the sound of glass shattering. David was not beside her. She wrapped herself in a robe and followed the sound, moving through corridors until she found a door she had never noticed before. It was slightly ajar, glowing from within. Inside was a small room filled with old photograph albums, yellowed newspapers, and handwritten letters. On the wall hung a portrait. Sir Emmanuel Okonkwo, 1889-1961, founder of the Okonkwo legacy. Chika picked up a newspaper clipping. The headline read, "Tragic Accident Claims Life of Lady Okonkwo." The article from 1958 described the sudden death of Sir Emmanuel's wife, who fell from a balcony. Ruled an accident, but rumors of foul play whispered through the lines. Another clipping spoke of Sir Emmanuel's ruthless rise, how he crushed competitors and seized land from defenseless families. Then she found a letter, the handwriting shaky with distress. "I cannot carry this sin any longer. What I have done will haunt this family for generations. I took what was not mine. I silenced the one voice that could have stopped me. God forgive me." Chika stumbled backward. In the corner, half hidden by shadow, stood a figure. Tall, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, face twisted with anguish. His eyes met hers, filled not with anger, but with sorrow so deep it swallowed light. Chika screamed and ran, not stopping until she reached the bedroom where David sat up, frowning. "Where were you?" he asked, irritated. Chika stared at him, this man she had married, and wondered what other secrets were buried in these walls. If this story is making you feel something deep, Drop a comment telling me what lesson you're taking from this. I want to hear from you. The following days were a blur of forced smiles and unspoken fears. Every time Chica mentioned the strange occurrences, David shut her down. It is just superstition, he said, old family gossip. But his refusal was not ignorance, it was fear. Fear that acknowledging the darkness would force him to confront the foundation of his entire life. It was Auntie Ngozi who finally told her the truth. The old woman found Chica in the garden one afternoon, sitting beneath a mango tree. You have seen him, she said. Not a question. Chica nodded. Auntie Ngozi sighed deeply. Sir Emmanuel was not the man the world believed. He was cruel, ambitious, willing to do anything for fortune. When his wife, Lady Adys, discovered he had murdered his own sister Clara to claim her inheritance, she threatened to expose him. So he killed her too. Pushed her from the balcony. The authorities never questioned it. The Okonkwo name was too powerful. But truth lingers, child. It does not die just because we bury it. Chica felt her blood drain. Every generation of this family has paid, Auntie Ngozi continued. Marriages fall apart. Children die young. Businesses collapse. David's father tried to break the curse before he died, funding hospitals and schools, trying to atone. But David believes wealth can erase the past. He is wrong. Until this family confesses and seeks redemption, the curse will never lift. That evening, Chica confronted David in his study. We need to talk about your great-grandfather. David did not look up. We have nothing to talk about. Yes, we do. I found the room. I saw the letters. I know what he did. David's jaw tightened. Whatever you think you know is in the past. It has nothing to do with us. Chica stepped closer. It has everything to do with us. Your family is cursed. Every generation suffers because of what he did. David slammed his hand on the desk. Enough. I will not have my wife filling her head with ghost stories. My great-grandfather built this family from nothing. I will not dishonor his memory. Chica felt tears sting her eyes. And what about your wife? Do I not deserve the truth? David's expression softened slightly. You deserve to be happy. You will be, once you stop listening to these stories. Now please, I have work. That night, Chica returned to the hidden room. She gathered documents, studied each carefully, looking for undeniable proof. She found it. A death certificate for Clara, dated 3 weeks before Lady Adys died. A letter from a family lawyer questioning Sir Emmanuel's claim to Clara's estate. A journal entry in Lady Adys's handwriting, dated the day before she died. I cannot let this evil continue. Tomorrow I will tell the authorities everything. As Chica sat back, the temperature dropped. The figure of Sir Emmanuel appeared in the doorway. This time she did not run. I know what you did, she said steadily, and I will not let your sins destroy this family any longer. The figure did not move, but the sorrow in his eyes deepened. He was trapped by his own guilt, unable to find peace until someone had the courage to speak the truth. If this story is touching your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Weeks passed in tense silence. David spent 16-hour days at the office, coming home only to eat and sleep. When home, he was irritable, barely looking at Chica. She kept the documents hidden, waiting for the right moment that never came. Every night she lay awake, listening to footsteps and whispers, feeling the curse pressed down like a stone. One evening, she heard a crash from the old study upstairs. Inside, she found chaos. Books scattered across the floor, papers strewn everywhere. On the desk lay a leather-bound journal. It belonged to David's late father, Chief Obi Okonkwo. As she read, she discovered entries from months before his death. I have spent my life building on a foundation of blood. My father told me about Sir Emmanuel when I was young, and I did nothing. I was too afraid. But now I understand that wealth built on suffering is no wealth at all. It is a curse that has poisoned every generation. The final entry, 3 days before his death, read, "I have written a confession to be released after my death. I pray my son David will have the courage to do what I could not. I pray he will choose honor over pride. If he does not, this family is doomed." Chica brought the journal to David. "Read it," she said. He was eating dinner alone. "Not now." "I am busy." She took his phone. "Read it. Your father wrote this before he died. He wanted you to know." As David read, color drained from his face. "My father knew," he whispered. "All these years he knew." "He tried to tell you," Chica said gently. "But you were too busy building. You thought if you made the name great enough, the past would not matter. But it does." David stood and walked to the window. "If I acknowledge this, it will destroy everything. The family name, the businesses, the reputation, everything we have will be gone. Or it will set us free," Chica said softly. "Your father believed the curse could only be broken by truth. He believed the family could survive, even thrive, if we stop hiding. What if he was right?" David turned, fear in his eyes. "Not of losing money, but of facing himself. I'm afraid. Afraid of what will happen if I let go of everything I was taught to believe." "Then let us be afraid together," Chica said, taking his hand. "We do not have to do this alone." But David pulled away. "I need time to think." That night, Chica woke to weeping. At the foot of the bed stood Sir Emmanuel, but he was not alone. Beside him was a woman in white, Lady Adais, and beside her, a younger woman, Clara. Their voices filled her mind. "Help us. Tell the truth. Set us free." "I am trying," Chica whispered, "but he will not listen." The ghosts faded. Chica lay back, staring at the ceiling, making her decision. If David would not act, she would. She would take the evidence and go public. She would break the curse, even if it cost her everything. What would you do if exposing the truth meant losing everything you had? Would you choose freedom over comfort? If you believe secrets must be revealed no matter the cost, tap the like button so this reaches more people who need to hear it. Chica spent days preparing, making copies, scanning photographs, transcribing letters. She reached out to a journalist friend, Amara, and arranged a meeting. She did all this in secret, moving through the house like a shadow. If David discovered her plan, he would stop her. David's younger brother Ugo arrived one day. Unlike David, he was relaxed, easygoing. Chica found him in the garden. "Did your father talk to you about Sir Emmanuel?" she asked. Ugo's smile faded. "He did. Not long before he died. He told me everything, about the crimes, the curse, how he tried to make amends but never felt it was enough." Chica took a breath. "I am planning to go public with the truth. I have all the evidence. I'm going to break this curse." Ugo looked at her with admiration mixed with fear. "That is dangerous. David will never forgive you." "I know," Chica said, "but I cannot live like this. I have to do this. For them. For us. For any children we might have." "Then let me help," Ugo said. "There is something you need to know." Clara was not just Sir Emmanuel's sister. She was his business partner, the one with real talent and vision. He could not stand a woman having more power. So he killed her and stole everything. The entire Okonkwo fortune is built on what he stole from her. That evening, Chica met Amara at a small cafe. The journalist listened intently as Chica laid out the documents. "This is explosive," Amara said. "If you go public, it will destroy the family." "Are you sure?" Chica thought of the ghosts, the cold nights, the weight of guilt. I am sure. Amara nodded. I will run it. But be prepared. David will come after you. When Chica returned home, David was waiting in the foyer. Arms crossed, face like stone. Where have you been? I was meeting a friend. Do not lie. Ugo told me everything. About the journalist, the documents. How could you do this to me? To our family? Chica set down her bag. How could you continue living here, benefiting from this wealth, knowing it was built on murder? I'm doing this because it is the only way to break the curse. You have no right. David's voice twisted with rage. This is not your family. You are just a woman I married. You have no right to destroy everything. The words hit like a slap. If that is how you see me, maybe we were never meant to be together. Maybe this marriage was doomed from the start. You will stop this. David stepped closer. Call that journalist. Tell her everything was a lie. Take back those documents. I cannot, Chica said. The story is already out there. Amara is publishing tomorrow. David's face went pale. He stormed out, slamming the door. Chica stood alone, heartbreaking, wondering if she had made the biggest mistake of her life. That night, the house came alive. Doors slammed, windows rattled. The air grew cold. In the hallway mirror, she saw them, Sir Emmanuel, Lady Adais, and Clara. But this time they were angry. The curse was reaching its breaking point. If this story is making you feel something deep, drop a comment telling me what lesson you're taking from this. I want to hear from you. The article published at dawn. By sunrise, it had been shared thousands of times. The dark secret of the Okonkwo Empire, murder, theft, and a century of lies. The reaction was immediate. Business partners withdrew. Investors pulled funding. Protesters gathered outside the gates. David's world collapsed. He did not return home for 3 days. When Ugo finally brought Chica to him, David was in a hotel suite, staring out at the city. I read the article, he said, voice hollow. I read every word, and I realized I have spent my life running from the truth. I thought if I worked hard enough, made enough money, I could outrun the past. But you cannot outrun it. It follows you. It poisons everything. He turned, eyes red and haggard. I am angry with you, but I am also grateful. You did what I could not. You told the truth. For the first time, I can breathe. What do we do now? Chica asked. David took a breath. We finish what my father started. We acknowledge Sir Emmanuel's crimes publicly. We return stolen wealth to Clara's descendants. We fund scholarships in Lady Adais's name. We accept that the Okonkwo name may never be the same, but it will be honest. Over weeks, they worked tirelessly. They tracked down descendants, established a foundation, issued public apologies. The process was painful. David broke down often. Chica questioned whether their marriage would survive. But they kept going, holding each other when darkness threatened. Then one night, Chica realized the house was silent. Not oppressive silence, but peaceful rest. The cold spots were gone. The shadows retreated. The footsteps ceased. She went to the hidden room and found it empty except for a new photograph on the wall. Clara, Lady Adais, and Sir Emmanuel in happier times. Beneath it, in David's handwriting, forgiven, but not forgotten. May we do better. David appeared behind her. They are at peace. I can feel it. The truth set them free. And us too. 3 months later, David and Chica hosted a gathering, not grand and ostentatious, but intimate and meaningful. Descendants of Clara and Lady Adais attended, along with community members affected by Sir Emmanuel's crimes. David stood before them, speaking from his heart. I stand as heir to a legacy of greed and deception. My great-grandfather committed terrible crimes. He murdered his sister Clara to steal her inheritance. He murdered his wife, Lady Adaz, to silence her. For over a century, this family hid those crimes. I'm here to say, I am deeply sorry, he continued. I cannot undo the past, but I can commit to a future that honors truth. The foundation we established will ensure Clara and Lady Adaz are remembered as the brilliant women they were. And I want to thank my wife, who risked everything to tell the truth. She was right. Moral integrity matters more than wealth. The room erupted in applause. Chica felt tears streaming. She went to David and he took her hand. Together they faced the crowd, united by commitment to truth and justice. That night, as they lay in bed, David said, I want to turn this estate into a center for women's education, a place honoring Clara and Lady Adaz by ensuring other women never have their voices silenced. Chica smiled. I think it is perfect. They talked about plans and dreams. And as they talked, Chica realized this was the marriage she always wanted, not built on wealth, but on shared values and commitment to making the world better. Before sleep, David whispered, Thank you for not giving up on me. We both became better, Chica said. That is what love does. It challenges us to grow. As she drifted off, surrounded by warmth and peace, Chica felt contentment she had never known. The curse was broken. The truth was told. The future was full of hope. If you believe in redemption and moral growth, tap that like button and subscribe. What lesson did you take from this journey? Share in the comments below. Where are you watching from? And don't forget to like and subscribe if this story touched you. Remember, a life built on truth may be harder, but it is also freer. Freedom is worth more than all the wealth in the world. Thank you for watching. Until next time, may you have the courage to face your truth.